Hello everybody and welcome to Cinema Savvy. It is myself George with another review, and this time we are doing another home media release. This is of course the brand new remaster, the 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray release for Pulp Fiction, of course Quentin Tarantino's, not just his sole masterpiece, one of his many masterpieces, and there's another one on the wall up there. If you're new to the channel, of course, this is where we do reviews, discussions, all this sort of stuff. And if you've been with us for a long time, you'll notice that I have been moving. So a lot of things are changing, and we've got some new posters that we can finally talk about, finally show off. And we're in much better recording space for videos, for everything moving forward. So this is one of the first few videos in this space. There's a Top Gun Maverick unboxing for the box set behind me from the other day. We've got a few things planning up on the channel. But before we get to some new releases, we are of course going to do another Ultra HD review. And you know, this is one of the first ones still. We've done Plane, Trains and Automobiles, Top Gun Maverick, The War of the Worlds double pack, Pulp Fiction today, and some more down the line. So if you're a fan of home media, if you're a physical collector, this is the place to be. And in the new year, when everything is set up, when everything's moved up here, everything's properly done, I'm going to do a very special video, something we talked about doing a couple of years ago, which is basically us going through like home media, everything we've got. So I'm going to go through all the shelves so people can see, because we're in a space where we can do videos like that now, which is quite fun. So yes, if you are new, as I said, please do comment your thoughts. There's some Pulp Fictions, been out for a very long time, so let me know your thoughts on the film. If you're a fan of Tarantino, favourite characters, favourite storylines, and if you have seen this, if you've upgraded to 4K, also let me know your thoughts, because this is a pretty good one, especially compared to the last one, which was a shame because I had a new experience with the new film. Unfortunately, it was a terrible actual remaster. So, Pulp Fiction though, where I'm going to kick off, I'm going to talk about the film very quickly, because I was surprised to find out that there's never been a review of Pulp Fiction on this channel. In the 7 years this channel's existed, there has not been a review of Pulp Fiction, which really surprised me. I'm not going to do a full review now. Hint, hint at what series will come down the line, whether we get his 10th film or the TV series they're talking about next year. But if you're curious about my thoughts on Pulp Fiction, I think it's one of my favourite films of all time. It's very easily said, a lot of films are. I'm a massive Tarantino fan. It is one of the best films I have seen over the years, and it's one I've got a very personal connection to. It was the first ever film I saw when I began studying. Back at college, the first ever week of film studies, we watched Pulp Fiction. So that's my sort of 10 plus years ago I saw this for the first time, and every time I've seen it, I like it more and more. It gets better and better. There's stuff you just pick up amongst the storylines, amongst seeing Tarantino's other work, and this is a really special one. So this is the first time I have seen a 4K version of one of his films. Now I've got Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in 4K, but obviously, you know, 2019 versus, you know, mid-90s. I'm going to split this up as we have the others. I'm going to talk about the soundtrack, as in the sound, the track for the film, not the actual music. I'm going to talk about the visuals, you know, restoration, seeing it in 4K, and then special features as well. And I'm going to, as I said, I'm going to kickstart the sound. So, if you have this film on Blu-ray, and obviously it depends on your speaker system, everything like that, this runs the same sound. There's no Dolby Atmos upgrade for this. It's a 5:1 channel. It's inputted. It's fine. It's clear. It's concise. So if you've had a previous Blu-ray version, it sounds the exact same, no matter how much better your speakers are. That's your speakers that make the difference, which is what I've learnt with the new speaker system I've got too. But it sounds great, as it would. And the thing of Tarantino, and this is going to kind of segue into the visuals very quickly, Tarantino is someone that it doesn't just have a history of cinema, he knows cinema. His influences of his career and what he's gone on to influence in his career. He loves the movies, the cinema, the industry. He's just got his new book out, which I'm hoping to pick up in the coming weeks, which is essentially him writing essays on film. And if you've ever seen him in interviews, you know exactly what Tarantino is like when he's doing interviews. So you kind of know what you're going to get in for with this. And that's something that to me is quite important about transferring that onto his home media. So, you know, when George Lucas would do a new Star Wars version, you know, George Lucas has personally overseen those edits, mainly because of the changes, but he always strived to make sure those films were improved upon your home viewing experience. Christopher Nolan, when he did an upgrade for his pretty much all of his career went into 4K, he'd done that himself manually. He'd gone through frame by frame. Coppola's The Godfather 4K restoration this year was done by himself. Even Sylvester Stallone's Rocky IV he did lockdown was by himself. And when you have filmmakers that are doing these things, it goes a long way. Now, I don't have the details to know did Tarantino personally oversee this, but what I can tell you about this 4K version. By the way, I'm just going to talk about their box art very quickly. Let me bring that in. That is one of my favourite Pulp Fiction posters. I know it's the main one in black and white, but it's very noir, and it's not something I feel like we've really had before, and it genuinely makes it pop amongst some other things. And it's also worth saying I've not picked up the Reservoir Dogs 4K film yet. I need to. I know that was done literally, I think, a month before Pulp Fiction came out. So we're going to talk about the transfer, because this is the big thing now. And I guess this is worth saying, this was the first film I watched in the new setups. I've still got the same TV, I've got my new speaker system, obviously I'm in a new room, a bigger room, so everything's changed visually for me at least. But I did not expect to have such a good film as the first thing to watch fully. And I'm going to talk about the transfer into 4K, because the Blu-ray, again, if anyone has the Blu-ray is fine. It's HD, it's 1080p, it works. This 4K copy I thought was exceptional. Now, I don't know if it's because, you know, they've got the original celluloid that they've been doing. I don't know how much they've cleaned up the images, but there was something about this where they were able to clean up the reels so well. You've still got, of course, the grain, which is what we want. You know, it was a part of how that film's made, but it's almost been done in a way that it looks so modern yet so perfectly concise from the 90s. And I think a big thing for me was certainly looking at the introductory scenes. Of course, when we get John Travolta and Sam Jackson, we obviously get to see them in their suits, and everything just seems to pop about them that I can't really describe it. It's not something I've seen, but the effort that's been put into this, and maybe it's because it's a film I know so well. For example, when I did War of the Worlds, it's the first time I've seen it, and it was seen on 4K. When I did Planes, Trains, Automobiles, it was the first time I saw the film, first time seeing it on 4K. When you take a film that you know so well, Star Wars is always a big one for home media stuff for me. James Bond films, if we're ever going to get them in 4K, that'd be lovely, please, Eon. This was different. This really felt like this has been engineered in a new way. The transfer has, in fact, increased the film's quality, and I was just sort of amazed last night how well, not just the sets look, the costumes look, because it was great anyway, but you're able to get that extra amount of detail from this, and at no point ever detracted away from the quality of the film. You've still got one of the best films of all time there. It isn't tainted, there's not too much going on. It's just that there's been time and effort put into putting this into the 4K. Now, from what I've seen in the past, the Inglourious Basterds 4K hasn't been that well received. Now, that came out in 2009 anyway, so that's still fairly modern as a film. It's not the mid-90s, but to see this come into the way it is now, and even the final scene when they're at the diner, the detail, and I guess this is credit to the cinematography as well. There's so many close-ups throughout the film, especially with Sam Jackson. You notice it's the really little things, like, you know, like some of his like stray beard hairs and things like that. Stuff that you could probably maybe spot if you really zoned in the 1080p versions on Blu-ray, but there was something about this version where everything just felt that much sharper, but without ever taking you out of it. And I can't quite put my finger on it. I need to do some more digging. Because I said, we still need to do this 4K reviews, but that's something I picked up. So if you're coming at this perspective, that you love this film, you want to upgrade it into 4K for your collection, maybe you've got it on DVD, maybe you've got it on VHS still, 4K is definitely one of the ways to do this. And a really big thing for me, sort of segueing into the special features, this isn't blessed with many new special features on the 4K. So the special feature is very much on the original Blu-ray disc. That Blu-ray disc is ported into the double pack, so you don't have to worry about missing out on stuff you had before. There's a couple of new features on there. I'm just going to read them off properly from the back. So we've got the not the usual mindless, boring, getting to know you chit chat, which is essentially a 40-minute video where it's the cast talking about the process of shooting, being cast, all that sort of stuff. It's using old junket footage. So we don't need to worry about it being, you know, it's not been recorded for this. It's not an anniversary per se. It's just some new special features they're putting in. There's a trivia track and some more fact stuff. So the special features for this, I want to say disappointing, but I don't think Pulp Fiction, and apologies if this offends anyone, I don't think Pulp Fiction's a film where you necessarily need all that. That what more can be said that wasn't done in the commentary? What more can be said that's been out over 25 plus years from it? You know, the Blu-ray has so much special features. The most important thing is they've carried this over, that it is on its secondary disc. Nothing has been taken out from that. And I think that's a really big thing. You know, there's certain box sets where, again, Star Wars is on the shelf behind me. You lost so much when you made the jump from Blu-ray to 4K because a lot of companies just aren't putting in the effort anymore. I think The Lord of the Rings is probably a famous example. The extended trilogy on Blu-ray is probably one of the best box sets ever made. that didn't port well to 4K in the sense of a lot of those features never made it across. I still don't know why, and so I'm guessing do many people, but certainly for Pulp Fiction, it's great to see they've carried that on. Yes, it's a disc as well. Yes, it's a film everyone's seen, everyone knows, but the question then is going to kind of allude to, is this worth jumping up and paying at? Probably not for the special features, but as I've sort of spoke about for a while, this one is about the video quality, and it also depends how do you want your setups, you know. If you're buying 4K films, you buy them because you want some new features, or you buy them because you want to see these films in 4K. Now, for me, it was about seeing this, and this is where I'm kind of amazed with this. I didn't expect it to look as good as it did. Am I going to pick up Reservoir Dogs now? Yes. Am I going to upgrade Inglourious Bastards? Probably at some point. I'm one of the OCD ones, so once I upgrade one, I'm going to have to start going through all the others. And no doubt, I'm sure that Jackie Brown will follow. I know it had its re-release a couple of months ago. I'm sure that Kill Bills will probably get done next year. It's great when you're seeing these formats, and it makes it so important for people that are involved in home media and that do want to collect stuff like that. So if you're looking for advice to buy this, I would absolutely say yes, buy this film. The transfer is great. You can really demonstrate that new tech. If you're trying to show it to people, if it's a film you know, you'll notice more things. If you've got it on DVD or video, of course, you need to upgrade it. But the big question is the Blu-ray people. If you have it on Blu-ray, is this worth upgrading to 4K? I personally think so. Full RRP? Probably not. It'll end up in those really good offers that like HMV and everyone does, like, you know, 2 for £30. If you can get it in that, very much worth going for it. So it's hard to judge it in that sense. It's a great upgrade. Again, the sound. I mean, the sound doesn't need to be put onto Dolby Atmos for a film like Pulp Fiction. To me, Dolby Atmos is very much about the big blockbusters. Like, what experience, what difference can the sound make? And all credit to Pulp Fiction. This isn't critiquing the film or the quality of the sound. It doesn't jump out as I would show this to people. That's your Top Gun Mavericks. That's your Star Warses, that's your Dunes, things like that. Pulp Fiction isn't one of them. And that's why it makes sense for them to port over that original track. I'm going to call it the soundtrack. We know it's not the soundtrack you're thinking of, but the music sounded great as well, which it always does, because it's a Tarantino film. But yeah, that's another 4K home media release. I hope this one went okay. It was a bit weird to do. Again, only because it's, you know, a film I've seen many times before, and I'm still amazed we haven't discussed it at length in the channel. As I've hinted at, this will be a review that probably gets done properly over the coming years. As I said, whenever Tarantino does do his next scripted film or TV series, we don't know. His next film is apparently going to be his last one, so I wouldn't be surprised if it takes as long a gap as he can, especially with him publishing all these books. But anyway, that's going to round out this review. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we've got a few other things happening on the channel over the coming weeks. There's a very big famous sequel coming out next week. It's, of course, Avatar, Return to Pandora, all of that sort of stuff. We're going to have potentially multiple reviews out. So we might have a spoiler-free one on Tuesday, and I might have a spoiler discussion Monday the 19th, because the World Cup finals the day before. So there's a few new reviews coming. We've got Pinocchio to come. We've had an unboxing for Top Gun, which is there behind me. There's a few other things. There's dates in Austria now. I'm still moving things around. We've not been as busy as we normally would. We've missed out on some great films. And when we've got some stuff to announce for next year, because there are going to be 2 director retrospectives, we'll be announcing them, one of them much sooner than the other. So, as I said, thank you all for watching. Be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. Follow us on our social media. It's where we announce videos. It's where we tend to put up when we've got new videos. You know, we did an amazing Last of Us trailer discussion on Monday. That was myself and Sam. If we hadn't known that trailer was coming, we wouldn't have known what to do. So we put it on our Twitter feed. So do follow us on there. It does make a difference. And yeah, Twitter and Instagram at cinema_savvy. Facebook and letterboxd.com/cinemasavvy. Link to Letterboxd in the description. All the links in the description. Link to Redbubble. We'll pick up the merch. Whatever you want to do to help support the channel, you're more than welcome to. If not, that's also cool. So thank you all for watching. Join us on the next one and take care.